This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
Are you feeling more fulfilled now that you're back to work?
This Friday.
No. I need a vacation.
See the movie that critics are saying is an awesome.
Look at that.
Crowd-pleasing, fist-pumping, all-out brawl of a film.
You're right about that.
They're coming after our family. Go fix this.
Oh, my.
Nobody 2. Rated R. Only in theaters Friday.
What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances suddenly decided they were done, don't stress. Best Buy has you covered with a wide variety of major appliances from trusted brands, in stock and available now. So you don't have to worry about laundry piling up, refilling the fridge, or that big dinner party you're hosting. Because Best Buy has the knowledge and expertise to get you the right appliance for your home. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Hello, everybody. This is the Tour Coach, and it is Masters Week. My favorite week of the year, as I'm sure it is yours. It's like a holiday. It's like a religious occasion. Unfortunately for me, I'm not coaching and teaching there this year, but if you're sitting down, you're listening to the Tour Coach, you know these are my conversations and my stories and roundtable discussions from my travels and Jackson Court's travels in the world of golf, whether they're teachers, they're players, coaches, fitness experts, whatever it is. It's the people that we meet, we talk to, trust, learn from, work with. All of it, we sit down and we talk and we share it with you to hopefully help give you some enjoyment, give you some inspiration, and also, more than anything, help your game. And so if you've been listening, you know the last several weeks we've been doing a Masters giveaway with our new content going out on Dew Sweeper TV on YouTube. Look, all you got to do is go to YouTube and type in hashtag Dew Sweepers TV, Dew Sweepers TV hashtag on our YouTube channel. Join the channel, like it, go to the description of our podcast here, wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to it and type hashtag Dew Sweeper TV, and you register for a giveaway Monday morning after the Masters. We're going to give away a set of Shrixon irons of your choice. We're going to give away 12 dozen Shrixon balls and a dozen Shrixon gloves to one lucky winner. Great opportunity to get some great Dew Sweeper Shrixon gear. All you got to do is check out our content over on YouTube, and that's Dew Sweeper TV. Our follows are going through the roof. The views and the comments about our content have been overwhelming. So please check out Dew Sweeper TV over on YouTube, and an opportunity to win some great Shrixon gear Monday after the Masters. Going to give away a set of Shrixon irons, 12 dozen Shrixon balls, and a dozen Shrixon gloves for one lucky winner. We'll do that drawing and announce it, so make sure you check it out. Great Masters Week. We're going to have a lot of content coming to you here on the Tour Coach, and we're going to kick it off today. So make sure you listen, subscribe, and none of this could be remotely possible without our sponsors, and that, of course, is Shrixon Golf, Bushnell Golf, Vineyard Vines, Mitch McConnell and the folks at McConnell Automotive and Buick GMC, and you obviously can't forget Ed Rowan, Taylor Martino and Rowan, and Stokely's Midtown Garden Center. All of that support makes the Dew Sweepers radio show, the Tour Coach, and Dew Sweepers TV all possible. So stay tuned. Masters Week is upon us. You got a great chance to win. And don't forget, subscribe to this. Go to the description of the podcast. Like it and comment, hashtag Dew Sweepers TV. Go to YouTube, hashtag Dew Sweepers TV. or repost this on any of our social channels, hashtag DewSweepersTV, and you could win the Shrixon and Dew Sweepers gear. Enjoy Masters Week. It's first major of the season. I'm ready for it. Are you? All right. So joining us here on the Tour Coach, got fellow co-conspirator here, Jackson Court, who's been doing his Tour Coach minis during the week. It's obviously Masters Week, big week for us. Putting out some stuff every day during the tournament. Joining us this week, once again, a good friend of ours, somebody we've gotten to know quite well over the last year. Been on the show a few times. We got to hang out with him at the PGA show. Former PGA Tour player. He was the low amateur at the Masters. Now a really, really good golf instructor, coach, teacher up in the Pacific Northwest, Rick Fehr. Rick, what's up, bud?
Hey, Tony, Jackson, good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Good to have you on. I mean, this everybody I've talked to so far when we're doing this, every player or coach that's gone there to Augusta and had a little success or been around it, when you start talking about the memories and the experiences, it's always a special week. Even if you've only been there, I think, once or so. I mean, I think those memories last a lifetime. It's a special place. It's different than any other event. You were super cool last year. I know when we had been there, you sent me a couple texts and, just about preparing for an amateur. Obviously, we were with Andy too when he was amateur at Augusta. Talk a little bit about you were low amateur at Augusta. Talk a little bit about you played in it twice as an amateur, if I'm correct. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
You were low amateur on the second visit, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's almost like cheating a bit, because most amateurs get one shot at it. So I had plenty of practice rounds and tournament experience before the year that I ended up playing well enough to finish low am. So I kind of double dipped, and it was back in the day when more amateurs had opportunity to play. So I was fortunate, at least, I played in an era where more amateurs got an opportunity to play. I also played in an era where there wasn't much money once we turned professional, but great memories. Some of them still vivid, I suppose. 40 years, it's been 40 years. And so some of them have probably faded a bit, but you're right. People that have had the opportunity to be there, it's certainly memorable. You'll never forget it.
So what did you learn from year one to year two that made you play different, or were you just playing better? I mean, I think sometimes people are always like, oh, obviously experience goes into it, but sometimes you just play better anyways,
Right. Yeah. That's true. So I would say that the skills I had as a player, so this is back when I was, 19, 20, 21 years old. I was confident. I don't want to come across as cocky, but I went there thinking I could win the darn thing, sort of, and that was just doing the math. It's like, okay, could I get around here in 69 or 70? Sure. Could I do that? If I do that 3 or 4 times, I'm right there, kind of thing. So I broke it down a little bit that way. I think where I grew up playing here in the Seattle area, Little Course, Sandpoint Country Club, small, super hilly greens, quick, that sort of thing. So I think that part of the skill requirements to get around Augusta well, which is, speed control, in good instincts as far as start lines and how you drop it from, one plateau onto the other and, get it close. So that part of it I think I was ready to roll the first time around Augusta. But my first year, I played at BYU in college, and this is back when, this is going to date it. Billy Casper, still as a past champion, was playing, and he invited me to play a practice round with him. So he preached at me how to play this darn golf course. And it's like, on 12, just try to hit the green over that front bunker. Don't screw with the corners, and stuff like that, right? So I picked up and had a local caddy. Simon didn't, certainly had that local knowledge. I didn't draw on it too much, but I was pretty prepared. But I think that I missed the cut by one in the first go. And then, so I played decent, the first go around. And then I just happened to, to your point, hey, I just happened to be playing well that week. Right. So that's one of those things that, as you know, our games fluctuate. the best in the world who play really well consistently. That's still to this day mind blowing to me. Like, we all flashed up there and had our hot weeks or stretches or a month or two, but those that seem to play well year after year after year, month after month, that's the exception. And I just timed it well. I played well that week.
Don't it? To me, more than any of the other majors, and maybe I'm just biased, but like when I look at guys that win or in contention, most of the time you see them trending into form the few weeks before Augusta. And I know there's been outliers of guys that have played terrible and then they won the Masters. Mm-hmm. But for sure, it seems like, Tiger obviously looked like he played good every week during that stretch. Mm-hmm. But still, like, you look at like how Spieth has played good there. Like you can tell kind of when he's been playing well leading up to it. Mm-hmm. You look at other guys that have played well. We had on last night, we had on Charlie Epps, who talked about Angel Cabrera in 29, missed the cut the week before in Houston, but had been playing really good and didn't really play that bad in Houston, but like felt like he was ready to win. To me, I think that there's a lot to that when you look at who's going to compete and play well this week.
Yeah. So nowadays, right, with all the betting in the game and all mm-hmm. that, I'm sure there's all sorts of, I don't pay attention to that stuff, but I'm sure there's trend lines and everything else. And mm-hmm. I don't follow, the tours as much as back in the day, but I think that's a big part of it. I also think that the players just sort of wake up for certain things, mm-hmm. right. And I'm not saying that you wander through boredom, through some events, but I think that, and the longer guys go, the more successful they are. They might actually not be as awake, so to speak, or jacked up to play. And so so guys, they have this, the second weekend in April is on their calendar, from the start of the year, and so some literally have a way to prepare. Like I play my way into the event, or I rest myself before, whatever. But yeah, the greats have always kind of targeted the majors, and obviously the Masters seems to have a special place in a lot of guys' hearts. There's major championships define careers, but it seems that other than Gary Player, players really kind of target Augusta. The green jacket is kind of career defining, and so I think that some of that is now that can work against Player, right? Like mm-hmm. I'm a little worried about Rory because I think it's like there's an awful lot of probably overemphasis, right? But to get that the fourth leg of the majors, and anyway, guys prepare well, and I think that you don't want to go in there struggling. Right? You're not gonna. It's a tough place to find your game because now when I played, those first as an amateur, we were coming off of, we're not too far removed from the slow Bermuda greens. I don't know. I think a lot of people have never seen the fast, hard fairways, and then the slow greens, which was up through late 70s or something.
Right.
And so anyway, but right now, I mean, the way that course plays, I mean, you're on the precipice of disaster an awful lot, right? So you need mm-hmm. to choose smart targets, and you need to know where to miss it and all that. But there's times you got to land that approach shot on that little plateau, whatever. And so I feel like you can't go in there struggling. You've got to be sharp.
What changed, if anything, from being an amateur to being a pro, and your approach and how you prepared or how you played it? Did you obviously you were a great college player and you won on tour? What anything changed in how you approached it or what you did different?
I wish I knew, because I never played as well again. I mean, so like it's like, gosh, this golf course should suit me. I mean, I wasn't exceptionally long. I was middle of the road, with driving distance and whatever, but I felt like, mid-iron play and short game were strengths. And I still feel to this day that that's what the ultimate test is. It demands approach shots, and, there's times back in the day, it's like, if I hit, my stock right to left shot, to that location, that ball's not staying where it needs to stay, so you're working it both ways, controlling distance. And I don't know. But I think my career, I would say I did though play my best golf probably when I was an amateur. Like I didn't get better when I got on tour. And so that's part of it, but I didn't figure it out, guys. I don't think my record in majors was, it's disappointing, I would say, looking back. So maybe I didn't figure out the sauce, but
did you have a top 10 in the US Open?
Yeah. Before I got on tour.
Really?
So, yeah. So 1985, that was at Oakland Hills. So
okay.
I had turned, that was my first year as a professional, had not yet got my tour card, and just made it through locals and sectionals. And I was in the second to last group on Saturday and Sunday. I was kind of in the mix and kind of fell back to ninth. That was my best Open finish. So like, again, this we could unpack an awful lot from this.
Oh, yeah.
But it really influences my coaching, having gone through that experience. It's like, you know what? It's like sometimes players don't really need to get better. They just got to figure out why and how they play well, and then just shut your ears and just continue on. It's like, I'm sure you guys have had, student clients of yours or players that you work with. That it's like, you know what, if we just drop them on tour at that point in time, they've got what it takes. And so, some are early bloomers and the others are late. I just think that I played well enough when I was 20 years old, to go compete at the highest level. But I was, you question, you think, okay, what more do I need to do? And it's like, maybe this is good enough. And obviously getting playing status somewhere important is just a difficult uphill, and at times luck, as far as playing well at the right time to get status. But there's just so many good players at a young age now. And I suppose I see myself, maybe I was as good at 20 years old as I ever was. And so, so my best major finishes were like, as an amateur or, pre PGA Tour status. But, it's, you guys can unpack it. Let me know why the heck that happened. But,
look, it's tough. It's tough nowadays, and I think that all of the technology and the information that's out there makes it harder to convince people that I've been fired. Heck, recently, people, hey, you're on the right path. I think you're doing the right thing. Just because you didn't win your first two, whatever Canadian Tour starts, doesn't mean you're not making progress. I think people don't necessarily want to hear that you're good enough, and you got to be patient. When to me, the majority of young people and players come up are so wanting it right now that they think that if their first 6 months as a pro, they haven't gotten a tour card, that they're not on track. I think that there's a lot of that out there. And you said good enough, and it reminds me, I was on the practice green at Austin Country Club when they had the match play there and Tom Kite was standing there, and he was talking to me, and I'd spent some time with Tom, and this was kind of in the, Smiley was really on a good streak then, but like was starting to struggle a little. And I remember him saying to me, he goes, sometimes so you have to learn to convince him that sometimes good enough is good enough. Right. And I always, I wrote that in my phone, that like sometimes good enough is good enough. And I think that's a hard part about what we do with players and what players encounter. And you as a player, to understand that you're good enough is good enough, and that it's okay that you aren't winning everything right now, because golf's hard, right? I mean, shit. Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces to manage, or to try to have in place, right, to perform at your best. So sometimes, I know that whether it be the player or the parents of the kids we work with or whatever, it's like, well, if it's not working and whatever, it's like, hey, we're on the right path. It's just the time it just hasn't happened yet. And and I think that's why I have so much curiosity about and dig in so deep with other issues of performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think I maybe shared with you guys before, but like I see golf swings, whether it be Instagram or YouTube, whatever, that golf swing's good enough. I mean, I just on my phone, yesterday with a player shoots 95, whatever, and we're just getting started. And I showed like the top of your backswing looks like you could be a +3. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like there's stuff, right? There's, and we're kind of in the swing culture, and of course it matters, right? But so many people have things in place. It's like, well, you got to figure out how to deliver a golf club from there, right? Or, a lot of times, whatever it's the feels, or obviously mindset work is huge. Kind of the performance psychology and all of that, and so it's just a lot of pieces that it might be a player has all the physical skills and technical skills, but it's the other pieces, right? So sometimes we just got to be patient for those areas of performance to come along, or obviously, I know all three of us, we know that those pieces matter, so it's like there's a skill in identifying, it might be the patience thing, or to Tom Kite's point, that, by the way, I don't have his Masters record up in front of me, but I think people would be shocked to see, his finishes at Augusta as a guy that's a mid-length at best off the tee, not a high ball hitter. Like there's so why did he have such a great track record at Augusta? But yeah, it's hard to take paying clients and tell, nah, you're good. Just wait. Well, that's not the point. But
he finished inside the top 10 12 times.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think and I mean, obviously he probably played 30 times or something like that. But for a guy that isn't the prototypical Masters, every figures player's got to be long, hit it high, and be a good putter. Well, I would say putting was probably a weakness for him. And so anyway, it's interesting. So I think it's difficult to guess. I mean, you got obviously Mike Weir one, kind of not exceptionally long, kind of low ball hitter, things like that I just feel like approach play. And if I had to, I'd say who's dialed, with their approach play, that's who I would put my money on. And I just feel like that's what Augusta National tests you the most on.
How did you go ahead, Jackson? Go ahead.
How did you manage all of the aspects of your games? You had touched on it about being able to manage each different piece of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the best way?
I played a lot of golf. I mean, it was kind of an era where, we didn't have, so much studio tech, everything else. I just, put on the rain suit and get out there and play in the rain. It didn't matter. I just played a lot of golf. It was an era where we didn't play as many golf tournaments as juniors play now. But, as a professional, I think I got steered off course, not blaming anyone, but I just started to think more about swing and positions and things like that. And in my case, it led me astray. I'm just, that whole, it's good enough. My wrist flexion at the top, I saw as a wart, and now, I recognize that that's a functional place to start from on the way down. And so, swing change. This is just a personal opinion from out in the North 40 up here, but I'm not, out there on tour watching, but I just feel like, swing alterations, right, are too quickly or just too prevalent. Like, hey, there's a downside risk, fellas. It may look better, but when you take motor patterns that shift because you've changed a position or you're trying to achieve something, it's like, man, that thing, the 10,000 hours or whatever, there's not a lot of science behind that, but it's like, you you've got motor patterns, you got neural networks that, if you change a club face orientation, even though you might say, hey, I'm not a big fan of the word gains. Like, what the heck are you talking about gains? It's like post a video and it looks better. And it's like, hey, gains. It's like, yeah, but the player might be lost, right? No idea how to hit it from there. So that's why I think I had my best major performances at a younger age, because I hadn't started screwing with that stuff yet. Like,
But you managed a lot of your game on the golf course?
Yeah. So I'm getting feedback. I didn't have a coach telling me what needed to get better. But yeah, hey, I need to get better at whatever this type of shot and whatever. And, so I'd say environmentally, I had, was playing, at least as a home course here in Seattle, a course that I look back and like, man, that demanded a lot of different skills, right? So just my environment forced me into some development of some stuff that served me well once I left town, so to speak. And then, I was fortunate enough. I had a lot of success at every level growing up. So now all of a sudden, however we build confidence or self-belief, that stuff just, I didn't come across as cocky, but internally, like I said earlier, it's like, 20-year-old amateur going to Augusta thinking I could win this thing, and I know that hey, people are going to say that's ridiculous and insane, but it's like, yeah. So then all of a sudden, I'm thinking my mind is on the top of my backswing instead of hitting the golf shot. And I spent too much of my career in that mode. So anyway, but everybody reaches a level of proficiency and different skills at different points. Some people might be, hey, have a tour card and they're 28 years old. And it's like, we got to revamp your short game, or we got to revamp a golf swing. But that didn't help me at all back when I played. Yeah.
You talked about, you were talking about skill sets and, importance of being a good iron player there. I think iron play is critical. And then you talk about skill sets that aren't necessarily golf swing related. You touched on patience. I think patience is one of the keys this week. From my experience, the little I've had there is the ability to be patient and understand that, you could hit good shots that end up in bad places and so forth, and how demanding it is to where you start and where you place the ball. I think is a key value this week is patience. You don't see that many. I know there's been some, but you don't see tons. Like, to me, you remember when Rahm way back at the Players and he hit that second shot on like 11 par 5 and he went ballistic out of the bunker. And the earlier Rahm, where he was, to me, visibly less patient. Yeah. Wouldn't have won at a Masters like he did last year. Like, to me, the learning of that quality is very important to be able to compete there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point, Tony. I agree. And, along with that patience, it just seems like emotions are more hyped up that week. Right. So then controlling emotions, which is, I think, what you're describing with John Rahm, and that, because you're going to have, right, stuff happen, so to speak. You're not going to get through there super clean. That course, you're going to have a ball spin a little too much and come off the green into a pond or something. You're going to have things that, but there you go. Being able to control spin and all these different things, right? That it's just, I always felt like, and I played a bunch of U.S. Opens too, and U.S. Opens was, you kind of get bludgeoned, a little bit, right? And then here it is, Augusta. And I know back when I started playing there, we were coming from the 19 under Raymond Floyd or whatever he shot, and that sort of thing. And then the course flipped, to, it's not about being aggressive all the time, and it's like, it's more, man, you got to avoid some disaster. So that's that patient, playing smart, thing. And, all the disasters on 12, and things like that on Sunday. And it's like, they're, stand there, even though they're thinking, hey, let's try to hit the green over the bunker. Their mind is like, I got room over there to the right, and kind of the late shove comes into play. And but so just respecting, right, and being patient. I think some players are overly aggressive early in their careers at Augusta National, and I think then they learn to kind of plod. And is that strategy, the Nicholas Ben Hogan strategy, still relevant? And I know that with how awesome young players are now and how many there are, right? You feel like you got to go, and pedal to the metal, from the first tee and onward. And I just think that being able to control that and know when to, slow down and curve 3, turn 3 or something. So I think that's where over time you take, why is it that you don't typically see a player win in their first trip around Augusta, right? And so there's probably a kind of a learning process, but you'd like to think that, hey, as coaches or whatever, that, hey, well, let's accelerate the learning. We don't want to wait for the third or fourth Masters to make a run at it. So I don't really think that's vital. I think that, but if what Augusta demands is different than anything anyone's experienced before, then it might take a while, but like I said, I feel like the environment I grew up learning to play in, fast, slopey greens, whatever. And I'm playing 23 feet of break or something like that. Yeah. I just instinctively know where to aim that thing and see the ball trickling down a hill to where you want it. So not everybody's had that experience growing up.
And you talked about boring, overly aggressive, and you touched earlier in the pod here about Rory, maybe wanting it, right? He recently, I think in the last week, mentioned that he's kind of figured out that the key to success there is what we would call boring golf. And I think that probably bodes well for him, other than, he's so powerful and he's so explosive. Like, I think I think you look at like how Tiger won his last Masters. And Jack obviously won a bunch of them. Like they had the ability to really kind of be pretty boring and be in the mix until you needed to do something coming down the stretch, versus I think that wanting it too bad, like we could talk about Rory, probably makes you said something brilliant earlier about you're avoiding a disaster. Like, if you start off super aggressive when there's 70 holes ahead of you, you can create a disaster and not get the opportunity to be in the mix, Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And I just think that it's fascinating to me. I don't have the answer, but how do, I'm trying to figure out with all of us, all three of us, we're trying to get better and figure out how we can coach our players more effectively, but the balance of wanting it bad, yet letting it happen and being patient, that sort of thing. There's these, balancing of desire and patience and all of that. So obviously being in the moment is a key part of it, right? You're not thinking about the 13th hole when you're playing number 10. Just being in the moment, and it's just you're facing a test one time after another all the way around that golf course.
Yeah. It's, and I think too the golf course, as it's lengthened, even though obviously the guys hit it so far, but they all can. The par fives are obviously reachable, but not as much as they were in those 90s to me, where guys started.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So to me, obviously 13 and 15 coming in, but 15, if you don't hit a great tee ball's not, and depending on the wind, is not automatic. You can send something in there,
Well, you can send it in there, but now you're one hopping it, contending with the pond on 16, or you're, back there, one hopping it, you're 20 yards behind that green. That's an impossible shot. It's
right.
How do you get it? How do you literally just get it on the green and not run it across the green into the pond in front? There's those subtle things. It's okay, you just created a bigger challenge than you just faced, right? Mm-hmm. So the number of shots in there close, second shots on 15 blows my mind, because you got tons of elevation change. You got all these things. So So you got to pull a club that does, it's like, gosh, is this really enough? And all that stuff, because it's really easy to blow it over that green. And, if you're in position, and then you lay it up on that downslope, now you got downslope with all due respect, Augusta, there are years where that turf is very thin. Like that ball's not, it's like sitting on dirt almost, and okay, clip this off the downhill lie to that approach and don't spin it back off the green, all this stuff. It's like, I don't believe the players still have the option, but back when I played in the early years, I played there, they had kind of a first cut down the left side towards the grandstands. And Billy Casper said, hey, it's flatter over there. And the grass was, this long instead of just like this, just intentionally lay it up down the left side into the rough. So now you've got a wedge shot out of kind of a, 3/4 inch length of grass, off a level lie. So you're not back. This is back with spinny golf balls. So it was a lot easier to spin it off the green. It was like, that helped me a ton. And I just lay it up down and just into that first cut. And you got a level lie and it's not so tight. So those are some little tricks that I was probably Billy probably helped me a bit,
That's awesome.
Those tricks. Yeah.
Before we go, and Jackson, if you have anything else, please jump in. But give us your favorite memory of the years playing there. Is there something you always this week you think of, or a good story, something?
Probably like if during play. So I've got an embarrassing interview on YouTube, the Butler Cabin, getting a little. I was like, gosh, you'd never have me on if you said that's all Fehr's got. I was coming off a discipline. But it's like, geez, people say, what was the sour face, man? And it's like, well, I just shot 75, to drop to 25th, and I was up there pretty close. I think I was T11 starting the day or T12 or something. And missed top 24, which was the coming back the next year as a pro was, so it's like, gosh, if I just one shot better, I'd secure at least playing Augusta the following year as a pro. So, but anyway, I would say, the Saturday of that 84, so this is the year I was low-am, I think I shot 72, 71. Then I'm paired with Gary Player, third round. And the storm was rolling in, like the sky was just getting so stinking dark. So you're just waiting for the siren, because the bats coming. And I was on 13, and this is back the old green, right? This is before Nicholas's group changed the green on 13. A little simpler, but pin was kind of front left, and I drove it pretty well. And I was carrying a Ping 5 wood, literally wood, whatever, because we were all told you need a 5 wood at Augusta. So hit the shot in there, just kind of up in the air and whatever, hit in there about 12 feet and then hooped it. So that was one of 2 eagles I've made at Augusta, but being there with Gary Player, the legend, and, on my way, I think I shot 70 that third round, which kind of, obviously moved me up. But probably that moment on the course is probably the most memorable. And I was fortunate I played with 4 or 5 more Masters after that. But again, probably that year as an amateur was probably the greatest moment for me there. Because I was playing well.
Yeah,
I had a lot of other Masters where I didn't. So unfortunately,
I get that.
Yeah.
Rick, that's awesome. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. Today's your off day, so thanks for kind of sharing some of those memories and insights, and also just appreciate you always being willing to pick up the phone and chat with me a little bit. I always enjoy talking and hanging out.
You and Jackson, your team, you're the best, and always happy to jump on. Appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy the week.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. In fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler. But look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skincare. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, is use our code word DewSweeper. Visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper. I just want to remind everybody something that I forgot. Recently, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I went out. We went to a wedding, and afterwards with some friends, we were like, hey, where's a great place to go? I'll be honest, like, in my travels and day-to-day, sometimes I get caught up and I forget some of the great places right around the corner. But I got to remind you about the Icebox Bar on 755 Monroe Street. I was blown away by just the whole vibe, the atmosphere, and with the Velvet Pig, the food in the back room and the big screen TVs up front. We sat there and watched some playoff games. I was blown away by the atmosphere, the vibe, and just how cool it was to have the Icebox Bar right here near the Dew Sweepers downtown, near where I live. You're looking for a great place to go sit, watch some games, hang out, play some pool. You got to go to the Icebox Bar right there on Monroe Street. There's a good chance you'll see all of us hanging out. But do yourself a favor, go visit the Icebox. It's one of the best places out there.